Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe back, and I'm going to do my weekly reading update for, October 1st of 2023. So I did want to show off my shirt a little bit because it's my spooky shirt. It says books. Anyway, sorry. I just got this from a dealer. I will put them that I saw online somewhere, Piper and Ivy. So I will link them. So far I really like their shirts and their sweatshirts. So anyway, I do like my little book t-shirt, and I wanted to wear it on the 1st. So anyway, because it's now October. Anyway, so happy Victober to those who celebrate as well. And this week was a good reading week. Again, I think I read things that I didn't expect myself to read. I was in a really weird space of my physical reading. Didn't go anywhere near what I planned it to, or nothing worked out the way I wanted it to, and I pretty much fell into a series, and again, it's just kind of how that goes. So other than that, I don't think I have anything else pending to talk about. Again, October, everybody's doing so many readathons and everything, and I am taking part in Victober, which is put on by Katie at Books and Things, Kate Howe, Petra Yu, Marissa at Blatantly Bookish, and Roz I can't say her name, handling about the books. So I will have stuff linked down below for that when I get to the part of what I'm going to read. But I just want to mention I am doing Victober this year, like I have 6 previous years or more. I don't remember how many years I've done this. Quite a few years. I really enjoy it. But again, I'm taking it kind of, I'm trying to finish things that I've started in the past. And then I'm also doing Spookopoly or Spookopolython put on by Becca and the books. So again, books that I'm going to read in the future are going to be part of that as well. So I just want to put that out there. But let's talk about the end of September 1st. Because I did read a few things. I did finish my library book, Mammoths at the Gate by Ning Vo. I did not get to the library this week, so I will take it back in the next couple days. I meant to take it back this week, but I just got busy after work and stuff. So this is the 4th book in the Singing Hills cycle, which again, this month was series September, so that was put on by Krista at Books and Jams and Sarah at Sarah's Nightstand. So I was trying to get a lot of series books done before the end of the month. So this was one that was a library a new book that came out in September. I was one of the ones who requested it, so I was one of the first to get it. So I do want to get this back because there are people waiting for it. But this is, again, book 4 in the Singing Hills cycle. We're following Chi, who is a traveling cleric who goes to search for stories and things, and this is when they come back home to their I can't remember if it's a monastery. It's whatever they call their abbey. They come back to their abbey and they find mammoths at the gate, like outside of the abbey, and why that is. And so I've looked at some reviews after I read this because, again, it's still fairly new, so there's not too many out there. But a lot of people like the direction this went and what happened here. To me, it was just not enough. And of the 4, this is my least favorite. I think there are some really good themes in here about grief. And I did like the way it went in the end. Like, I kind of liked that. But there's a lot of this middle ground where it was kind of almost... I don't know. It was like, I just felt that we were kind of wandering. It wasn't really making a whole lot of, like, it just didn't, I didn't see the purpose of it in the way that the main character interacted with a childhood friend and some of the things that were going on there. I don't know. It just was not my favorite. I'm definitely going to continue reading this series if there are more in it. I do enjoy this fantasy world and the things that we learn about it, and it's written very concisely, but I felt like this one, of all of them, even though it's only like 120 pages, I still felt that there was stuff in there that I'm like, why is that in there? And again, maybe it just didn't resonate with me. I think other people, obviously, there's a lot of people who've given it 5 stars already on Goodreads and stuff that found that this was very poignant and they really liked it. But again, I felt something a little lacking, but it didn't. I don't know, I just felt like there was a part in the, not the very beginning and not like the solid middle, but kind of like that in between middle, beginning and middle that I didn't really care for. So anyway, I'm glad I read it, and I'm glad I got it done for, to be caught up on this series. I will read more. It's just not my favorite of the 4 that have come out. So anyway, so then I finished my audiobook of The Silmarillion by, well, the the book is by J.R.R. Tolkien, and was put together by his son Christopher Tolkien back in 1977. I happen to have the 2nd edition here. I have another copy, a really pretty one, which I forgot to pull off the. But anyway, I listened to the audiobook that was done by Andy Serkis, who plays Gollum in the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies, which were really good. So I had never read the Silmarillion, and I've always wanted to like be able to say I did it, because I felt like that was a badge of some sort that I needed to achieve, reading wise. And because I binged the Lord of the Rings as a reread last week with the audiobooks, I continued right on into the Silmarillion. So I had started this last weekend. I found that this is very much a text that most people do not need to read. This is very much for those who love history and want to get the history of the world of Middle-earth. I think there's a lot of stories in here that are touched on in names that are dropped in the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, that he gives kind of this background, this whole background to somebody that their name is just mentioned like in one point, or a different name for a different place that you didn't know why they called it that, but it's actually, there's a reason for it. There's a history behind why it has multiple names. There was a lot of interesting things in here. I think this is definitely one that if I wanted to get more out of it, I would have to read it physically and read it more often, like read it a couple times to kind of get it. I did enjoy it overall, just to kind of hear the stories and hear the main ones that are talked about. And I know they have like other books that come out that are parts of this are in other books. Like there is actually a Children of Hurin book, but the story is in here. So I don't know what the difference between that book and what I got here. I'm guessing it's expanded in some way, but I'm not sure. So if you know if I need to read on and get more in depth on those, or if they're worth it, really, I'm just really glad that I finally listened to this. Again, as I said, I think I'm going to do a reread, but I'll do it physically next time, or maybe a conjunction one, because it was really well done, the audiobook, but I felt like this is very much a history book, so I felt like I didn't catch all the details. So I think that was the only problem I would say I've had. Like, I couldn't tell you maybe some of what happened in here, because it was such a history book that I'm not going to remember all that, so it was, different from a story, which is weaved in a way that I remember a lot of details. So I don't know, I still think there's a lot of stuff to learn in here that I didn't get the first time around. I would definitely like to reread this many years in the future, but we will see. But I'm glad that I've actually finally finished the Silmarillion. So I feel like I've, at least if I continue on and read anything else that's within all those other texts, I don't know what else is in there. There is a book I want to get that's called The History of the Hobbit, that somebody wrote kind of as a biography of how the Hobbit came to be. And I really want that, but it's only in hardback, and I'm kind of like, I don't know if I'm gonna buy the hardback. Anyway, well, we'll see. Because I think it's gonna be a big book, but I think I'm done right now with my J.R.R. Tolkien like binge, because I watched all the movies this last weekend. And I really, really enjoyed rewatching the Lord of the Rings, because it is my favorite series of movies as well. I just adore them, and I've watched them a couple times a year, so it was just due for a rewatch, because I don't think I'd watched them since probably around New Year's of last year. I don't remember. It was like around that time, or Christmas. I don't remember. So I was glad for that rewatch. I loved rereading the Lord of the Rings, and I'm glad that I finally have finished the Silmarillion and actually got to that. What did I know I read something. I'm trying to remember the order of what I read. I don't know why it just went out of my head, but let me just double check. Okay, so no, I haven't. Okay, so then I tried like 4 audiobooks on a day. Oh, I guess that was later. Okay, so after I finished The Silmarillion, I wasn't sure what I was going to read right away, and I was glancing around going, well, I have some library holds, and I think I tried one of those, and it turned out I don't like that book on audio, so I'm going to read that physically, which I have, so that's a whole nother thing. Anyway, but I decided to pick up Ravensong by T.J. Klune, which is book 2 in the Green Creek series. These are narrated on audio by Kurt Graves, and because I loved Wolfsong. At the end of August, I was not trying to push this off, but I also wasn't sure I was ready, like, heart-wise to read another book. And another book that kind of destroyed me. It was really an interesting urban fantasy following these people from Green Creek, and this one follows Gordo and what happened with him, and it's his his whole backstory and things that happened, and it was just devastating in certain parts of it. And then then we get to the nowadays kind of thing, and it kind of things that explode, and it was a great I think this was a great action-packed ending as well. I really enjoyed it, but it was really all the heartfelt stuff of his love story and the reasons behind things that happened to him in his life. And then there's a lot to this. It's hard for me to say a whole lot. I don't want to give much away, but the first book, Wolfsong, follows Ox, and it's him growing up in this small town, and he meets the Bennett family when they come back from being away, and they live next door to him, and he kind of gets entangled with them. And as I said, this is urban fantasy. There are werewolves, and so that book is, again, Wolfsong is just fantastic. And I loved it. And I loved this one too, for different reasons within that world. I can't go into without spoilery. So I'm trying to think how there was parts of this that it just hurt my heart. But there was also some really heartwarming moments. The banter in here is great when it's in the down times where it's the fun parts. So I just love this book. So I really really enjoyed that. And again, I had been wanting to read it. I just hadn't got to it. And, I put it off because, I was trying to space it out, I guess. Well, that didn't work. I'll show you in a second. So, then all this week I had a buddy read with, Berna at Berna's Bookish Adventures, and we started the Love at Stake series by Carolyn Sparks. The first book is How to Marry a Millionaire Vampire. So this one was just a lot of fun. This was a vampire story following I think her name is Shauna, and she is in the witness protection program because she saw some people get killed by the Russian mafia. And so she's working as she's a dentist, and so they find her a job that she works nights and has no really connections to anybody in the area. And there's Roman, who is a vampire, 500-year-old vampire, who has a little accident, and he needs his fang reimplanted, and it was hilarious. It's just all hilarious of why things happen. Anyway, but he comes to her because she's the dentist in the middle of the night, and he has to get it done before daybreak, or else it won't reattach. And when he goes there, the Russian mafia has found her, and so he saves her. And then it's their story of why they're after her or what's going on. And then he's connected somehow because of who came after her. And again, she is it's the whole exposure to the vampire world, because again, it's a hidden thing. But this was it's like a more sweeter kind of a vampire novel in a way, because, of Roman and his people, they're, of what they do and what they don't do. So I think this was really fun. This is really funny. The banter is really good. The dialogue, it really goes fast. The book is a fast read to that. There is a lot of good action though, and the mystery of why certain things. I would not say it's a favorite book or anything. I think this was her debut. So it's really a good, it's at least the first book in this series. I think this was her debut novel. So it also, I think it's really good written that way. Like, you can see there's potential for better, because Berna and I are going to read the next book next month, or in October now. So we're continuing on this series. It is a 16 book series, I think, with a couple novellas. So we will see how this goes. But I at least want to read book 2 to see how it goes, because I loved a lot of the side characters in here. This is like one of my favorite things about certain paranormal romance series, is that they have a main couple in a book, but there's so many side characters that they're going to get their books at some point. So I'm really excited for what happened in there, because there was a lot of good action, and there was a point where I was really worried about a character that I thought something had happened to them, and I was so relieved when they were okay. But that's just me. Anyway, but there's other ones that things happened to that were bad. It's definitely an urban fantasy. Anyway, I'm excited to read it. We're gonna, again, read it in a couple weeks, so I'm excited for that. I have to go get the book though. I don't have it, but I'm gonna get that. And again, it's an older series. That was published in 2005, so the series is done, so, which is nice, or at least I think it's done. She's gone on to other series, so I'm pretty sure it's done. So that's one thing, is that it's kind of backlist, so it's kind of cool. And as I said, it was one of my books that was on my ones I did try a chapter on a couple years ago and just never came back to read. So anyway, I'm glad we had that experience. So, and then the last thing I finished, last night I kind of stayed up because I was listening to it, and Devastation was Heart Song by TJ Klune. I cried ugly cry in this one. It was such at one point it just broke me. These books, as I said, the Green Creek series has just grabbed my heart, and I loved Wolf Song, and I loved Raven Song, and I loved Heart Song, but all for different reasons. They're all built very differently, the storylines, and here we're following a character who at the beginning you're not sure what's really going on. It's really much you're dropped in, and you know there's something wrong because you've read the other books, and you're like, wait, what? And then it just kind of builds, and you kind of see the cracks start to form, and then there's a lot of devastation in this book, but a lot of heart, like a lot of love, and just sweetness too. So, and there is the banter in there, just not maybe as much because of things that are happening in here. The books are definitely escalating in conflict, as in, the stakes are higher and more people are in danger. I just really love this. I'm glad I let myself buy the audiobooks. So again, these were independently published, a couple, I think 2018 to 20 or so. And then, they've been picked up by Tor. So their hardbacks coming out. I think the audiobooks came out earlier this year. And then, but the hardbacks started coming out this summer or this year. Wolf Song came out. Of course, I got a used copy from the UK. I don't know how I did that, and then Raven Song I got pre-ordered, I think in, was it end of July or early August? Anyway, so the next book, this one doesn't come out physically until January 30th. And then I think the fourth book, Brother Song, doesn't come out till June or July. I don't remember what the date is. I don't know if there's an official date yet on that. So anyway, I will definitely be pre-ordering the hardback for this. I just adored this. I will probably get this through my independent bookstore next time I go and have it pre-ordered for that, because I just adored it. I ugly cried at this point. So yeah, I mean, I was hit emotionally. So again, this was obviously a 5-star as was Raven Song and Wolf Song. So the series is primed to be one of my favorite series of all time. But right now, it's definitely my favorite of the year that I have started and gotten into. So anyway, this one, I just love that. Anyway, it was so good. So talking about what I'm in the middle of. So what did I start this morning? I started Brother Song. So this one also is on audio by Kurt Graves. So this is book 4 in the Green Creek series by TJ Klune. So this one already hurting me. I'm only like a half hour in, and I'm already like, this book's gonna hurt me too. But I just cannot put this series down. So I have pretty much put on hold everything that I plan to read for the next few days. So I figure this will take me a couple of days. The audiobook is like 17 or so hours. I don't remember what it is now. So, you know, I do listen to 1.75. So, you know, it's like 11 or so hours on audio, but I have to listen to this. So I'll probably make a good dent in it today and then tomorrow, and then we'll see if I get done Monday or Tuesday. But I kind of think I'll get this done tomorrow, because I know I won't get it done today. That's too many hours to have an audio, but I will make a really good dent in it today probably, because later I'll be playing Animal Crossing, so I'll listen to that. But I am this one, I don't want to give away. This one follows one of the other characters, and it's just, it goes off of what happens at the end of book 3, so I can't say anything. I just love this series, and as I said, it's very, for me, it hits all my heart stuff. It's just, anyway, so I am doing that. So that's going to be my focus today and tomorrow. Physically, I have a lot of books on the go. So I did try to read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. I did get to about 100 pages. Yeah, just about 100 pages. And I paused it because of what was happening in the book. I wasn't in the mood for a historical fantasy. So we're following Emily, who is, I can't remember, she's Cambridge or whatever. She's on looking for fairies, and she's writing this book. And so she is out there on this small little island. I think she's somewhere off of Norway or somewhere close to there or something. And again, it's kind of like a fantasy world because, again, people know that fairies exist. And so she is she's staying in this little hut that's not all that great. And to her surprise, her colleague, what was his name? Wendell Brambley comes, and he shows up, and he is very different from her. He's very flamboyant and different. And but for some reason they've been colleagues for quite a long time, but also kind of friends, but kind of not. So there's kind of this weird thing between them that she's not sure why he even talks to her, but she's kind of jealous of his success. And then things just kind of go downhill after he's there, things that start to happen, and her learning more about the area. And because she's not very personable, and he is super personable, so people don't like her so much, but they like him, and there's different. Anyway, I did like this. As I said, I got about 100 pages, so I'm just about, just under a third of the way done. I just need to break from it. I don't think historical fantasy was calling to me, and what happened in the seed was like, what do you, anyway, so I had to take a break. Anyway, so I will come back to this. It might be this week, it might be next week. I'm hoping to still get this done in the next couple weeks. I just need to take a break. It wasn't calling to me. And then I did start another book that is not really calling to me either, after I got kind of involved in the other in the Green Creek series, which is What the Hex by Jessica Clare. This is book 2 in the Hex series. The first book I read earlier this month, or earlier in September, which was Go Hex Yourself, which I really, really enjoyed. This one is a little different because this one has to do with, this is like witches, and so she is familiar, or she wants to be one, but there are very few positions left to wizards and warlocks and things that are open. And so a lot of times, you never get to be a familiar. And so she decides to, she's offered to be kind of the under the table kind of familiar for someone who is not supposed to have one for another 10 years due to something that happened in his past. And he is a jerk, and he is not used to dealing with people, or people not doing what he says. And she is a bubbly, very bright person, and she stands up for herself and stuff. So they have this like weird dynamic, and then they have to fake date because, again, nobody can know that she's, helping him. And, but she has to stay at his house because doing spells takes energy from her. So she will fall asleep, after a certain amount of time. So she can't get home in time. So they have to live together they have to have some reason. So they're fake dating. So I just got to the point where they're making their first kind of public appearance of fake dating. And I just was not in the mood for that. Even though I love fake dating, and I I'm not sure how much I like this character. I mean, I like the characters, but I'm not in love with them as much as I was in the first book. So anyway, I'm going to come back to this. It just wasn't working out, or I just need to break. So I don't know. I'm hoping I'm not going to abandon that one. I'm hoping I'll get back to it, fairly in the next week or two. That's my goal. Anyway, again, both of these, I'm hoping my mind will switch over. And then the other one I started on Friday, before I let myself start, Heart Song, was an audiobook, Days at the Murasaki Bookshop by Satoshi Yagasawa. This was translated by Eric Ozawa. So I started this. I listened to about 50 pages. So it's like only 150 pages, this little book. I got it from off Libby. And again, my hold came through. So I thought, I better listen to it because other people are waiting to it. And I did get, I got a couple hours in, and or a little over an hour in, and I'm just like, okay, I need a break. This is very much about a young woman who's about 25, who has a very a reason, her breakup with her boyfriend who was cheating on her. And but it was in a kind of a weird way. Like, it was a weird setup. So her uncle offers, because her boyfriend was a coworker, she quits her job because she just can't handle being around him, even though he's good with it. But anyway, she quits her job, and her uncle offers her to room and board to stay at the bookshop that he runs, that's been in the family for 30 years. I think, something like that. And then so she moves in upstairs, and then she opens the store in the morning so he doesn't have to worry about that and can go do some other things. And her uncle are not very close. She's kind of avoided him for years, just for kind of weird reasons, actually. So there's things about this I don't like. I don't like her attitude towards her uncle at the very beginning. I think now I'm getting deeper into it. She's starting to meet people around the area, because this is like a bookshop area, like a street that has all different kinds of bookshops. And so she's starting to meet people and make friends. So I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about this one. I don't hate it. I'm not sure I care a whole lot, but again, I'm about a third of the way through. I got a couple more hours on the audio, so I will try to listen to it, in the next, at some point when I get done with my other audios that I want to read, so that I can return it. So, but I'm not sure on this one, but we'll see. Anyway. So that's what I'm in the middle of stuff. And then what I'm going to start, and again, these are a little delayed now that my brain has completely gone Green Creek, and I'm just going to finish out, the last book, Brother's Song, in the next couple days. So after that, I will start another audiobook, but it's for Victober, and that is Mary Barton by Elizabeth Gaskell. I have a Juliet Stevenson audiobook that I got. I did listen to it for a little bit on Friday when I was kind of playing around with a lot of different audiobooks. I listened to Days at the Murasaki Bookshop. I listened to a little bit of this. I tried another library book that I returned because I go, oh no, I don't want to listen to that. But anyway, so I definitely want to get farther in this. As I said, I'm like at 60 some pages. So I was at 64 pages when I did my TBR. So I've only read like 18 more pages. Like I'm at like 82 pages now. So this is following people in this town. I'm not sure if it's Manchester, but it's like an industrial town, and there are the people who are very poor who work for the mills and stuff, and John Barton I think he's going to become kind of an activist, but right now he's pretty much just helping people out where he can with what little he has. And we're also following his daughter, who has higher aspirations than where she is, kind of class-wise, and what she's working at, because she has a love interest who is a little higher ranked than she is, or has more money. And there's also a young man who works in the mills and stuff, who is attracted to her. And so there's like this kind of, I'm not sure there's like gonna be a triangle or what's gonna happen yet. So far it's too early. We're just getting more horrible news of people getting sick and stuff. So it's just very heartbreaking so far. So and hard to read. So anyway, this is not one of a very long book. Again, it's Elizabeth Gaskell's first novel, so I want to get through it so I can read more of her stuff. Again, North and South is one of my favorite books of all time. So I definitely want to get through this and then move on. But this is one of those ones that I've started twice before and just have never finished. So audiobook wise, this is either that or it's going to be a tandem read, which could very well happen after I finish my audiobook that I'm listening to right now, and maybe my library book, and then this is going to be my primary. I want to try to get this done within the first 2 weeks of Victober, because I have the Dickens book that I want to read for the second two, or if I get them done faster, then I can read a troweled. But we'll see what happens. So I have Victober plans, but they all mostly are on books. The first two that I want to get through are this one and Oliver Twist, because I've started them before and I've never finished them. So anyway, so that's going to be the one I'm going to pick up next. And then I think the first book off of my Spookopoly Readathon rules that I want to get to is Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Merrier. So I almost picked this up last night, and then I decided to, no, I didn't want to read physically. I decided to go back and finish Heart Song, which I'm really glad I did. But the point is that I almost picked this up. So this is, I think, the book that's calling to me. If I can get read these first, then I will read these first because I've already started them, and then this will be my next new physical read. But we'll see how I feel. I might have to read this before I get to those. So this is following Evie, who is down on her luck, and she's trying to, I think her father is sick, and she has a younger sister, and she's trying to care for them, and she needs a job, and she's not having luck, and then I think she becomes the assistant to the villain, which I'm not sure, because again, I only read a page, and I want to I want to see it looks really cute. Again, I bought this book kind of on a whim, and then I said a lot of people have seen it now, so a lot of other people have it, but I've not seen anybody who has actually read it. So I'm hoping to, this is the book I want to get to. So that is it. That is all the books at this point. I'm kind of as I said, I just kind of let myself get sucked into a couple of series by audio the last couple weeks. Again, it's really hard because work has been so quiet where there's nobody there but me and the audiobook. Like I'm not used to being by myself at the shop for long periods of time, and that has happened a lot in the last couple weeks. Just because they're all out doing other things. We're all working. It's just I'm by myself in the office, and it's really quiet, so I can listen to audiobooks. Anyway, so I think that's why I've gotten as far on those as I have, but I just, oh well. Anyway. So, I think that's it. This next week, I'll probably have my book haul up. It was a little more extensive than I planned, but, I didn't spend as much this month, but I still bought a lot of books. I bought a lot of used stuff. But oh well. So, anyway, I will have that up later this week. I think that's it. So let me know what you're reading. Have you read any of these? And what was your opinion on them? What do you think you're going to do for October? Are you going the Victorian route? Are you doing rolls for Spookopoly-a-thon? Are you doing one of there are other dozens of readathons? Just can't do them all. I just focused on the two that I wanted to do this year. So anyway, let me know how you're doing, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.